Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Free Akashic Records Readings, satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. I'm Ernesto, I'm your host, and I'll be with you here for the next hour or so. And I have Veretta on the line with me. Can you hear me right now, Veretta? Are you there?
I'm here and available.
Perfect. All right. So, a couple of things. We do have some calls in queue, and we're going to get off to our callers and our subscribers in just a moment here. If you are watching our stream on YouTube, Facebook Live, or wherever, just give us a call directly if you'd like to speak to us. That number is 319-527-6071. Again, we'll be here for about the next hour or so. And if you have your birth time, we would love to give you a free Akashic Records demonstration here on the show. Now, a couple of things coming up. I know a lot of you have sort of been aware or talking about Mercury retrograde that's going to be showing up here. Sounds like it's going to be happening in 2 days on Friday of this week. So I decided to take a look at that, right? Because Uranian astrologers, for the most part, don't care for these types of transits, like it's a single factor analysis. It is one or two planets out of 66 in over three different charts. So, I mean, how is one out of 66 going to have that much of an impact on you? Well, if the other two that are related to that first one also show up there, then yeah, you're going to have some major things that'll pop up in your life with relating to Mercury issues. Now, what's interesting though is that while Uranian astrologers really kind of don't care for that type of analysis of the transits and the sky, if you can watch our YouTube stream right now, something that I did think was interesting is that this particular Mercury retrograde is happening right down here where that green box is that I just added to the screen. We can take a look at some other things and sort of what's going on as far as the world story is concerned, but a lot of that's really sort of not very interesting. And here's why, is because that's going to affect literally every person on the planet. So like this ascendant that's right there, this meridian, we can white these out because that's the minute, that's the environment that will all change depending on your location on the planet. And then when we also talk about the moon, this is something that moves 12 degrees per day. So that's pretty fast. So we don't really want to take a look at that either. At that matter, we could even take away Venus. This is another faster moving planet. We'll keep Mars because it is an inner planet that does move quite fast, but it is the slowest moving of all of the planets. And if we're talking about a general diagnostic of what's happening in the world as far as people's jobs are concerned, I would tend to think most people are going to want to know like a career outlook or forecast kind of thing. So that's something that we can take a look at because that's going to be the word that's going to be our key player for our career sorts of things. So that might be something worth looking at. The other things we can get rid of the sun here. We don't need this. This moves about 1 degree per day. That moves really fast. And then, even this Mercury, we could get rid of this one here in that green box because that's another inner planet that moves very quickly. The point is that when we take out about like 5 or 6 of these different points on the chart because they move too quickly and they're not personal enough for us, and what we do, we look at what's happening in the sky, specifically with the really slow moving planets. So what you're going to notice is that if you can see my screen right now, I have some stuff that's showing right here on the sidebar, on the right side, and that's going to be a data listing of all of the things that are equal to this Mercury right now out in the sky on Friday, which will be Mercury retrograde. So when we look at this, we have like Hades, we have Apollon. So this has been sort of like an ongoing thing. Those two planets have been in this dance on the world axis for a number of years now, and a lot of that is moving very slow. The great news is, though, that finally it looks like the money machine may be that much closer to finally breaking, so we can just get on with the damn thing and start our lives again, because this stagnation that we've all been stuck in for so long, it really isn't the best. And a lot of it boils down to the fact that the economy, the money machine, needs to bust. Like, we need for that to happen before anything else can move forward. And what the great news about this particular Mercury retrograde transit is that this Hades Apollon right here at the world axis is about 2 minutes away from being something that, 12 minutes away from being something that is going to be exact. So this is going to have an extreme impact on everybody. And again, because we don't really care for the single planet analysis of only one planet out in the transits, that doesn't really seem to interest us. But what does interest us, though, is the fact that this planet, Mercury retrograde, it's happening right at about 45 degrees. 45 degrees on a 90-degree dial is going to be that exact cardinal point excuse me, it'll be a fixed sign actually is what it would be. And it's going to be the point where we can see the world axis very, very clearly. So depending on what you have happening in this set region in your chart, this may be a really busy Mercury retrograde. Let's say if you have planets like Hades or Volcanus or Uranus, Neptune, these are some things that we want to keep an eye out, because whatever you bring into the matrix of possibilities with your own information, that's going to be sort of the stories or the themes that you're going to be experiencing this time around in Mercury retrograde. Another thing worth noting about this Mercury retrograde is that it is actually happening in the sign of Taurus, which we don't care about from an astrology perspective. We don't really pay attention to those sorts of things. But one thing that we do pay attention to is the energy of that. So this is going to be please, please, please pinch your pennies. Do everything that you can to save up for the future, because that rainy day, that big thing, that is happening. So we do want to be prepared for that when it does come, because when the bomb drops and everybody's in a world of hurt, if you're not in a world of hurt, then I can guarantee you your quality of life and your mental health will be so much better than everybody else around you. So this is really going to be a time where we want to be careful and cautious about the money that we spend that's going out the door, and also about the conversations that we're having with our family members, because the people who are close to us, this is a dicey time where things come up that we don't really mean to say, and then they're damaging, and what the heck can we do to go backwards from that? Well, you really can't. So the best advice that I could give you at this point is shut your mouth. We don't care. Give it a couple of days and then have that conversation with somebody. Not everybody has to know your thoughts in that exact moment, because that can have some negative effects. So these are sort of the standouts that's happening in astrology right now. This is going to be affecting us coming up on Friday. And again, it's not going to be like on Friday, on the 18th, on the 21st, everybody will have this gloom and doom, earth-shattering experience. Absolutely not. No. It's just that these are the themes or the trends that you're going to be noticing over the course of the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. So we really do want to be aware of the stories that we're going to be presented with, because how we respond to them completely has an impact on what we manifest in the future through our own actions. So that's sort of my 2 cents on this Mercury retrograde. And then if you even look past that, 2 weeks later, May 5th, we have that eclipse that's also happening right around that cardinal 45-degree point. So we do care about these sorts of things. A lot of big energy changes are coming in store for us. So I hope everybody's ready. Veretta, what advice do you have for everybody coming into the week ahead?
Well, for our Wednesday to Sunday period, just and literally as I look at it, I feel like I'm a dog who's been running, and all of a sudden I stop and I pant, taking a breath. Okay, am I resting? Okay, am I resting? I'm resting. Not knowing if you're going to be settled enough to settle down, but taking a rest in the meantime. So these next few days may feel like that. All of a sudden you come to a screeching halt and you're listening to find out what the next area of doom is coming from. But there's not. It's just that's the way it feels right now. It's coming. It just isn't in this next 3 days.
Right. This next 3-day period isn't it, but the wheels are turning. So please be ready, because that's going to take off with or without you.
Right.
So, okay. All right. On that note, we are going to get off to our phone lines here. Just a moment. I'm just taking a look at a couple of other things. If you would like to get a reading with us here on the air, please give us a call at area code 319-527-6071. We'll be here for about the next hour or so until the hour 7 p.m. Arizona time. So we're going to get off to our phone lines here, and we are going to start off our night with Andrea from area code 703. Just to let you guys know what's going on, we're going to catch up with Andrea, and then we're going to catch up with Ashil, and then we'll do Charlene, followed by Amala. So hopefully we can keep that all straight. I know it's sort of anybody's guess. Eventually we'll have an assistant who can do all of this for us, because we practically need a second or a third host on the show just to do all of our micromanaging. So Andrea, let's catch up with you right now at area code 703. Hi, Andrea. Can you hear me? Are you on the air?
Hi, yes.
Perfect.
Wow, you got a great memory.
Yeah, I got you on the show here, or got your chart up now. I do save everything. Do you have a question for us today, or would you just like a general reading?
Oh, no, I have a question. Remember I told you my son was getting married?
Uh-huh, right.
Well, yeah, so we got married Saturday, and everything, seemed to go perfect. Everything, the day was great. Even the ex's, family, we all got along. But the end of the day after it was all said and done, we went to an after party, and I was talking to now my daughter-in-law's cousin, and was telling her just in general, so I was really just so disappointed that I didn't get to participate in any of the planning of the wedding. And I said, just don't say anything. I just tell her how I felt. Well, she went back and told, obviously, Christine or Stephen, because Stephen, my other son, told me what she had said. So, I don't know, do you think it's going to cause a rift between my son and I, or do you think it's going to blow over?
Okay, and what is your son's name again?
Stephen.
Stephen, okay. And her name. We need to know that one too.
Christine.
All right. Veretta, what you got for Andrea about that relationship issue with her son and Christine?
Okay. It may cause some concern for your son, but I think he's going to try to take the higher road and just chalk it up to that being who you are, and not so much respond or overreact to it. So now here's the thing: if you didn't want any ongoing anything over this, you're the one that needs not to be. Don't bring it up. Don't be bringing it up. Just let it go, and it'll move on. You'll move on from that. If you can just not say anything, don't bring it up to anybody at all, then it can gloss over and be gone.
No, I've already said what I said, so I don't need to. Unless he brings it up, I'm not going to bring it up because, like I said, you're beating a dead horse. You're beating a dead horse.
Yeah. And your daughter-in-law, she's looking to at any given moment a hot and cold. So I don't think he's going to pass that on to her, because he wouldn't know, or she would take that, and that really doesn't need. That would be bad. So. Oh,
she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Wait, she doesn't know that I said that only my son knows.
Right now, yes. I said, right now. At some point, she'll know, but you just kind of want to let it go, and for right now, and let it move on, and not bring anything up. Ernesto, what have you got for her?
Let me take a look at something here. It's just got an idea. So ARCU, what do we got? No, I don't want to do that. No, not that one either.
So she must have told my son and not told Christine.
ARCU. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I think
that's what I'm getting.
There. Okay. All right. Yeah. Because Andrea, I really get the sense that like this whole thing that's going on with him, this is honestly just a rough patch. There is a lot of weirdness that she is just bringing into the mix. So, like we had a conversation on our last show that when people in our environment who do not belong in that environment exist, we end up with things that we did not ask for. Like in your case, a rift, an argument, a dissent, something where it's not the kittens and rainbows Norman Rockwell painting that we expect to have in this situation. That all gets oil thrown on that painting, and everything is shot to hell because we have characters or players in that story that don't belong there. It could be her, it could be other members of her family, other contacts in her life. There just is energy that doesn't jive with you. And so the unfortunate thing is that it does jive with him. So whatever he happens to see or experience with her and all of those other people, it's okay enough that he likes it well enough that he keeps going back. Now for you, it has the unfortunate, effect that can I just have my goddamn life back? Because you people suck, like, why are you doing this to me? I did not ask for this. This is a common experience that you have is, like, why does it have to be this hard to have a family? And, I know that you've got some issues to where, like there's like this whole blended family thing that's going on in the background, and that creates
Right.
some other confusion and all of that. But, this is truly one of those things for you, Andrea, that you just sort of like, you have to let it go, let it slide. And this is honestly something that you have to experience right now and probably for a little bit here. I want to say this will be your experience or your mantra over the next year. Shut my mouth. It does not matter what people think about how I was hurt. If it was really bad, please let them know. But for the really small minor stuff, you just kind of got to let that slide, because the more you bring that up, then it just drives a bigger wedge in between you and your son, which is the relationship that truly matters here. And we don't want to alienate or push people away. So, I
Right.
mean, the best thing
Right.
that we can do in that case is just sort of accept the bad behavior for what it is. No, regardless of the bad taste that it leaves in your mouth, just because this is what I have to do to protect the things that are important to me.
Right. It's even sad when we're at the tea ceremony and people kept calling Vicky Stephen's mom, which is the stepmom. And I was like, and I rolled my eyes, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, it's no big deal, I just kind of blew it off. But still, at the end of the day, it still hurts, that
Oh,
everybody keeps
absolutely,
thinking
yeah.
Vicky's his mom.
Veretta, what suggestions do you have from a metaphysical perspective as a practice that somebody can do to flush their emotions of junk that we pick up that doesn't need to happen? Sort of what's happening to Andrea in this case.
Yeah.
Does candle work help with that type of release?
It does. Well, there are certain energy levels that resonate with certain people, and the candle magic wouldn't be a quick surrender for her, because she's got to kind of see it gone. It's got to be something she can feel, or she is attuned to enough to know that it actually happened. So for her, what I would suggest, when she would really, and it has to really do to some degree how ready she is. And when she's ready, all she'll really need to do is get in a very silent place for probably 8 to 10 minutes tops. Someplace where she knows people aren't going to burst in on her, their phone's not going to ring, somebody's not going to, demand attention in a given form in that manner. TV's down, the whole 9 yards. And she sits quietly, and she envisions from the top of her head a little white light going down inside of her body, she's on the inside of her body looking at everything. And a little white light goes to everything that just doesn't look or feel like it should be there. It doesn't resonate at that point. And go and keep on going right on down to the bottom of your feet. And when you get to the bottom of your feet, you're gonna be in somewhat of a little capsule, let's say a little submersible, and you're going to allow yourself to be completely protected in this submersible and get caught up in the stream of energy, leaving your feet down into whatever that source to you would be. Now, because it's going down, don't be swayed by, oh, it must be a bad place. No, it isn't. It's just that the energy field it's going into. When it gets to that, you're no longer bound by a level. Now you're just popping all over the place because you're a free spirit in a formless body. At some point, you'll come back to being in that body again and back inside, and you'll realize that everything inside that you just cleaned out of your body makes you a lighter being, a less dense, more buoyant, happier soul being. And so then the key to that success would be on a frequent basis. Maybe you can't get in once a day. Maybe every 2 or 3 days. Maybe once every 4 or 5. That'd be great, tops. I would say sit your butt down 8 to 10 or so minutes and resonate yourself from top to bottom with that white light to dissolve anything that does not belong with you back into the creator. Don't be all caught up at where that came from, who it came from, how it came from, where it should go. Just release it. This isn't drama hour. This is about you taking care of you at a spiritual metaphysical level, no ego, and that way you're able to do what you need to and heal appropriately. And most of all, have an intent. I want to do this because I want to get quieter in my head. I want to be able to get a bigger look at what's going on around me energetically. To have an intent and see how that provides you. It should provide you right off the bat with relief, but the more often you do it, the more relief will come. And your body will just kind of resonate at a level where your energy, your soul is in going to that place where all information is, and you can tap it very easily. So you're not about wondering, do they get it? Did they get it? Do they understand what I meant? Do they get where I'm coming from? You don't have to be all up in your head about it. Your intuition will tell you. So that was a little bit of a lengthy, but that's a one-size-fits-all in the aspect that most people will benefit to some degree in some manner from that meditation.
Yeah, and Andrea, I just want to let you know that when we were talking at the beginning of the show about the eclipse, if you can see our YouTube stream right now, you'll see that I put a whole bunch of orange squares on the screen, and there's an orange circle on the bottom. Now, the circle is going to be where the eclipse is going to happen, and you can see already that you've got a lot of stuff that's kind of converging at that access point. So you have sun moon in the first chart, you have a sun moon in the second chart, and then you're going to have a sun moon that's going to come down there in the third chart. Now, because you have some difficult planets that don't really jive well together, they can very well, or they can make you lose everything just as fast. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. So I don't know when I'm going to talk to you again, but I just want to let you know that this eclipse period that we're going to be coming into all throughout the month of May, this is probably going to challenge the heck out of you, where you are truly going to have to bite your tongue. And I'm going to tell you that you probably want to do that regardless of how much it hurts to keep that bottled up on the inside, all of those pent up emotions, because it will end up causing, like, we shouldn't talk to each other for a while. It will absolutely create, a wedge where you will be unwanted for probably a long period of time. I won't say forever. That's a separate inquiry, but this can cause an issue to where, somebody's feelings on his side got hurt. And then it's like, oh, you know what, Mom, that wasn't cool. You shouldn't have done that. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to take a break here and cut this off. I could absolutely see that happening. So the fact that you're being presented with these issues right now, it's just sort of like a little bit of a preview of what you're going to be dealing with in that eclipse period, where this is going to be a really heavy story where I'm going to have to figure out, don't say it, because it's just going to make everything worse. And that will be a major theme for you. So I just want to let you know now that if you feel like you're giving yourself emotional cancer over everything, it's because you are. And no, you're not crazy. It's just something that you have to do to stay alive for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah, I said my piece, and, I said what I said my piece, and I don't apologize for it. So, it's over and done with. I said what I wanted to say. So,
yeah. Well, Andrea, I do wish you the very best of luck in that whole process and all of the best and everything. So please give us a call back and let us know how it turns out.
I will. I'll let you know I'll let you know when I talk to my son again. What happens.
For sure. We appreciate it. Until next time. Thanks a lot. Take care. Many blessings.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, and we are going to catch up with Charlene here, area code 604. Hi, Charlene. Can you hear me? Are you on the air right now? Hello? Okay, Charlene, hello. Can you hear me? Could you turn up your volume? I can barely hear you right now.
It's just bizarre that it all has to happen together. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, great. So let me pull you up here, Charlene. Now, would you like a general reading today, or do you have a question about an issue?
Let's deal with things one bite at a time here with what's right in front of us. So at the moment, getting you, and just do what they ask, please.
I can't hear.
I'm so sorry, I can't hear you. Well, if there's anything that you can do to either fix your sound, or if you could give us a call back and maybe that'll create a better connection. But right now, we're going to go ahead and catch up with Amala. And then as soon as we're done with her, we'll come back with you. I promise we'll stick around to finish that out. So if you could just get our audio back, that would be terrific. Thank you so much. And we'll catch up with you real soon.
Get that trial worked out.
Okay. Amala, hi. Are you there?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Perfect. Welcome.
Yeah,
So
how are you?
I am
Sorry.
great. How
Yes.
are you? Always a pleasure to have you on the show. We love having you. So I have a
Always.
now. Do you have a question for us, or would you just
It's
like a general today?
yes, it's always changing. So I have a question.
Okay.
um, Loretta and Ernesto. So, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Armando.
Ernesto.
I was the worst name
Um,
I've ever been called.
I just am wondering. I actually listen I'm very attuned with what you guys say, and I remember it hasn't been long since I've called you guys, but I'm just wondering, Veretta, do you think he's ghosting me now? Because I actually sent him something, and it was just so it's about enlightened relationships. Did I freak him out?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. I
no!
would say
Oh
it's
no!
but it's got so many depths to this because I really get that he could be seeing it. This is where he needs a little space. He could be seeing it from so many perspectives. He really doesn't know which one is the truth. So he's going to have to decide, well, do I like this girl enough that I'm going to stick around and see if it's the truth or if it's not? And in the meantime, just don't burn my bridges, especially while I'm still on it. And that might give you a little bit more time to wonder, well, why did that freak somebody out? Why did I immediately go to that being why he never called me? Because it freaked him out. And do a little work on that. Do a little work on that area. I don't think it's going to be a big time frame that he gaslights you, and ghosts you. I feel like it's going to give you, just like I said, enough time to do a little perspective hunting, and he'll do what's right. He'll do what's right.
Wait. So what are you saying? Like, so he needs more time?
So he just needs a little bit more minutes, yep, and a little more time. And after he feels a little more secure about who he is, and that was not directed at him or in any way derogative or meant to be, whatever it is his mind has him drawing on such in conclusion. So give him a moment. He'll right himself and realize, oh, yeah, no, you didn't do anything wrong. Just keep on moving forward, idiot.
Okay. Because we have a presentation that's coming up in May, and I need to go back and forth with him, like flyers and stuff like that. Should I just hold off until like next week to do? Because we have to advertise. It's like a month from this Friday that we're doing it. So should I just hold off and just completely just let him be until next week? Does that feel safe for you? It feels safe for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it does. To me, yeah, it does. To me too. Like that's almost more than enough, but that's fine.
Okay. Oh my God, I feel so badly because you know what I got. Honestly, I sent him the video and I didn't see it all, and it's really, she's amazing. She's very on point. She talks like I do, and I just resonated with the lady. And it's basically being enlightened with yourself. Only then can you be enlightened with other people, and that was it. And then I think I have not heard. It's just weird. I just felt so. Now I feel all weird. You can probably tell. Oh no!
But see, that's what I mean.
Thinking?
You have to think about that. You have to think about
Okay.
why you made yourself in that manner feel weird. So let's let Ernesto give you a piece, something on that.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Amala, I'm taking a look at this, and
Thank
it is
you.
absolutely true that you feel ghosted or abandoned in this whole situation. Like, that was the big question that I really sort of wanted to know the answer to. And then the next question is, well, does it get better? Does that change? Absolutely, it does. And this is just, in a previous show, I don't think you were there. Veretta made a comment that, like, the people that we are supposed to be with, the ones that we're meant to spend time with and settle down with, kind of thing. There are certain things that we have to knock out of the way for ourselves before that other person can be ready for us. So like for me,
Right.
I am having the experience of, you gave me your birth chart. So what the heck am I supposed to do with this? I'm writing a textbook about how to do Uranian astrology. So if somebody sends me their birth chart, and this is somebody that I'm interested in dating, there are a number of issues there that I can bring up. So like, how do you read both of these charts together? How do we know that these two people are supposed to be together? How do we know how to calculate or, sort of work around this person's birth time that was somewhere between 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning, because that is a giant range that we cannot use, and we really need to narrow that down. So like, there are a lot of things that have come to my attention, like I need to do this, right? So I've really focused on that, and I'm not quite done, probably about 70% there, I want to say. But when I am done, I haven't talked to this person in a couple of weeks because some other BS happened in their life that they had to take care of first. Very weirdly, I could even tell you and show you in their chart where that's supported. But the point where I'm going with this is the fact I have to complete my stuff with this relationship analysis work before I can even attempt to reach out to him. Why? Because when this person comes back to me and says, oh yeah, let's go and hang out and do all these things together, all of that is a giant distraction from everything else in my life. It pulls me away from, my book project and doing the show and everything else that I do in my normal life. So it's kind of like I have to drop all of those things to be with this other person, because I will absolutely give 1,000,000% of myself, since I have waited for nearly 37 years for this even to happen, right? So I have to finish that. And I could almost guarantee you, I don't know the answer to this yet. I will know more over the next week and a half or so. I could almost guarantee you that if I reached out to this person today, I wouldn't get a response for a while because my work is not done. But when I finish that other 30% of work and then reach out, that conversation is going to start to happen again. Why? Because it's ready to. So I sort of think what's going on with you, Amala, in this case, is the fact that, you feel ghosted or abandoned by this man who you really like, because what did you do? You sent him an inspirational video about, like relationships. And I can tell you from personal experience, as somebody who came into this industry from the lovesick perspective, that when you start throwing things like spirituality and psychics and all of that at people who you don't really know very well, who may or may not be into that, it's a coin toss if they are or aren't. 90% of the time, those people are going to go running for the hills because they think you're a wacko or you're crazy or that you need to be on pills or something. Because, that's just generally not well received. Sometimes it can be, but that's pretty much not the norm in most cases. So I'm of the belief anymore, let's assume that, everybody is an ignoramus and that I am not an astrologer. I am just a regular person. I may be able to see and read the future, but I'm not going to tell you that, because like the moment that you start to catch on to the fact that I may be tuning into you in ways that are more personal than what I can just see physically, people get freaked out. And it seems to be a thing with people just to be creeped out in general by like the spiritual and the psychic phenomena, all of that stuff. So I sort of think you kind of had you had this experience where he's not talking to you for a while just because you need to be, shown this card again. See, Amala, this is what happens when we push too hard at those things that we really, really want. They just kind of have to happen in their own time. So walk away and do your other things that matter.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's just a matter of, I wouldn't mind it if we weren't teaming up to do a presentation. That's what's going on. That's what's making me a little nervous, because it's like he has family where I am. He's originally from my state, but he moved. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. And so that's what it's worrisome a little bit for me, because I'm doing a lot, and I don't think it is a team effort. He's really in it. When I ask him questions, he responds. But this came in the middle, and I know it'll all kind of do its own thing. It's just a matter of, like, now what? Because I have flyers to do, like, as I was telling Veretta and all this other business, that I need to have it, him say it's a green light, that it looks good, and so I could just distribute them, all that stuff, because he's a part of it. I'm not going to just do it on my own and be like, here. It's a team effort, so I just want to make sure everything is clear, and then you send it out. If you know what I'm saying, if it's a team effort, you can't just do it all on your own. I think you have to ask.
Well, that's another thing that's also really dicey, because I live by the phrase, if you want something done right, do it yourself. Like when I go to a job interview, most people cringe because they say, so what is your what is your best feature as an employee? And I say, well, to be honest, I'm not a team player because people are idiots and they're going to let me down. So I'd rather just take on that work myself and do it the right way the first time. And then usually I don't get callbacks after that, as I'm sure you can imagine. But I mean, it is true that, if this other endeavor is truly important to you, then you'll probably just walk away from it or figure out some way to get it done yourself, just because, like that, it just adds an unnecessary layer of complication to everything. And then what ends up happening is it's just like, so are we friends or are we working on the stuff? When can we talk about that? Like I think that if you can separate that and, keep your emotions apart from the work, that'll just go a lot easier for you.
Yeah. Detachment and surrendering is key for that. And so you give him some time, which is fine. I mean, I won't hound him this week. It's already Thursday tomorrow. I'm letting it go. It's interesting that the first caller is kind of like, we have to both let it go and then let things unfold organically. And then I'll touch base with him next week, I guess.
Really well. So,
right, Loretta? That sounds good. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's all. I know that it was a little bit distressing for you to go through this experience, but in a lot of ways, I'm glad that you had it, because it's just a reminder of, don't do that. That pushes people away, and I don't want that anymore. I'm not that person. So now you get the chance to do everything the right way the first time.
Yeah, part of me. I mean, I must say, Ernesto, that it felt like that I was real, and it felt right. And so it's weird, like, and that's an interesting part of this person in the video. She was the right person. And I think Veretta touched base on it too, when you were just speaking about what she said on another show. The right person for anybody is not going to run away. They'll be there. They're not going to run. So they might need time, but they won't run per se. Because if they're right for you, especially at the beginning, it works itself out. And if you're authentic, which I was with this, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take my whole life I've been dimming my light because of people being afraid of my brightness. I don't want to do that anymore. That's what I'm learning about myself. I'm just speaking. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. It felt right. And so I sent it. Well, and she had so much wisdom, this lady. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what I'm going to say is, I'm reading your chart from the Akashic Records perspective more so than a predictive sense. So what we're doing here is we're talking about the DNA of your soul matrix. Like, what is it that you came into this lifetime with? And what are some of those obstacles? So like for me, one of the things that I need to work on with myself before I can be in a relationship with somebody is I have to work on all of that ugliness, those things that I don't want to look at anymore, that I need to take care of, like about addiction or about weight loss or about, those types of things. The things that disgust me in life are the things that I need to start plowing away at, because, like that's the only way that I will feel relief, and my partner will understand that this is something that I have worked on. So for you, in your case, when we look at what is the obstacle to falling in love, what we see right away is that like you actually have to go through a spiritual transformation of sorts in order to make that happen. And what that refers to is, like the paradigm of eat, pray, love, like the lovesick girl who puts all of her eggs into one basket, that trope. Like we want to run as far away from that as what we possibly can, so that we're in that authentic self that doesn't care, that's not expecting anything, that everything is cool. It happens in its own time. And it's not distressing when it doesn't happen in its own time, because it'll come back to you anyway. So, this is an experience that you have to go through first. You have to condition yourself mentally to let go of, the attachment of this may or may not happen. And so that once you can resolve those issues, which is sort of the challenge you're being presented with right now, then you're going to be presented with all kinds of opportunities, and things really open up for you. And you see yourself in a different way, and you also see the relationship people in a different way too, because you now understand yourself, and you say, okay, so I am not that freak. I will not push people away and freaks them out, because I've been there, done that, and that's not a great feeling. So I don't need to do it again. Now let me have this new experience with you, and let's create some memories together. That's really truly where you're at right now. And this is going to be a theme that you'll work on over the course of these next couple of weeks in this retrograde period that we're coming into. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's those issues will all be highlighted, and I know you're going to do great, because you're one of those people who's always so focused on what is the path of highest intent, and how do I make that happen.
Yes, and that makes sense. I think thank you for actually saying the retrograde, because that puts things into perspective. It's not really go mode right now. It's a little hazy. So proceed with caution is what I'm feeling.
Yep, absolutely.
Proceed with caution. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Proceed with caution.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll hang in there. Any other words, Veretta? Do you feel anything else?
Just remember, when you meet someone that feels that strong, whether it's to them, together, each other, whatever, yes, there's a reason for it. It doesn't have to be, do not then take it one more step and label it right or wrong. It doesn't have to be that love ever after kind of person, but there's a point to it. So don't shun it away. Don't blow it off. Oh, well, no, I don't want to do that. It is a waste of my time. Those are the wrong words at any given moment when you have something plop down in your lap to give you space to breathe.
Yeah, I think, and I think what I'm learning is definitely the more you're chasing, the more they're running. Anyway, anybody, it could be even just a friendship. So just stay calm and proceed. I'm just going to surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender to what is, and that's all I can do.
And also,
what I did was, it's already done. I can't go backwards anyway.
And please always keep
go.
in the back of your mind, in your mental filing cabinet, that society has changed and conditioned us to become little snowflake pansies. So people cannot handle the truth. They are just wired like that anymore. It's really sad. So we have to be so unbelievably careful that we don't freak them out, because we can be as confident, and as knowing as what we are. But the moment you show that to somebody, then they think that they're being attacked.
Yeah.
It's just so weird, because we had such spiritual conversations when we hung out in person. That's what made me do this in the first place. And then it really is a chip. I'm not going to go on and on about. I'm just going to surrender.
Yeah. But you can't, when you're sending text, it's not the same as when you're face-to-face feeling the situation. If an individual is very versed in feeling someone when they're right in front of them, but has no way of determining what type of text they're being sent, because they can't read it energetically, then that's where a little bit of the torment comes from. He can't read that. He can't read that kind of info that he needs to know you from through a text. So he hits a little rabbit hole and starts to swirl.
Yeah. So he's going to be doing this. You're saying, do you still feel like he's going to be doing this like a couple of times within the next 3 weeks?
I would say it may be an ongoing pattern. I couldn't give you a definitive as far as how quick it'll happen again. But this is the other thing too. If this guy's been burnt in that regard a lot of times, don't give him 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out platform. This guy is learning as he goes. Sometimes he'll learn quick, sometimes he'll maybe take a couple more times and you think it should go. But if it's the one that wants to love you no matter what, it's one that you should have the time to take for him to get you to know that too, that you're worth being loved.
Right. Exactly. And it's starting off with the friendship anyway, so there's nowhere to go. But
right, and it should.
Yeah.
So I was just surprised.
I'm just surrendering that these kinks just does its own thing, and I feel good about the situation in the sense of the whole process of this. I have to have faith. That's the word, faith.
Yep. Not
You really
easy.
do, because, I'm sorry to
Isn't for
say
the sissies.
it truly is this difficult just to make a friend in today's world. And so we do have to have faith that it's going to see its way through.
Yeah. It's so true. Ernesto, you hit it on the head. It really is. There's so many moving parts. People get all freaked out about everything,
Yeah, but
and it's
you have to remember there's a difference between faith and expectation. So then when you can balance those things, when you're balancing faith versus expectation, then you got it made. Because that expectation, that's a killer. Any way you look at it.
It's true. It's true, and it's hard to keep that balance. So, well, I'll call you another time. This is we could talk about this another whatever amount of time, but I want you to get to other callers as well. So, I appreciate the time you've given, and appreciate your show. I keep on wanting to listen, if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll go ahead and put you back on hold again, Amala. We'll catch up with you real soon. We'll be back again on Sunday, as you know. So I'm sure you'll give us a new installment of the story at that point. We'll catch up with you real soon. Many blessings, and until next time, have a great night.
Blessings. Yes.
Okay, and we are going to get off to Charlene here from area code 604, and hopefully we got our sound issues fixed. And then after that, we're going to get off to area code 509. So, Charlene, hi, can you hear me? Are you there with us? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, I am so sorry. We are having some sound issues. So let me do this. I'm going to just go ahead and call out to Charlene. Just give me a moment here. Everything is on fire. Great. Okay. Okay, so it looks like that there was no answer. Let's move on to area code 509. Hi, you're on the Celestial Intersections Radio. May I have your name and date of birth, please? Hello? Can anybody hear me right now?
Hello? Anybody? Can
Hello?
anybody hear you?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, may I have your name, please? Hello? Are you there? Wow, this is now it feels like a Twilight Zone.
All right.
Okay, then this
That
is
Mercury retrograde stuff makes me look
Oh yeah,
good.
we're getting a little bit of a preview of this Mercury retrograde. Okay, and Charlene just joined us again. So, okay, thank you very much.
Hi.
Charlene, perfect. All right, the audio is so much better. So glad that you gave us a call back.
That was trippy.
Yeah, so we got you all set up. Now, do you have a question for us tonight, or would you just like a general today?
I do. There's so many things going on with me at the moment, but probably my most and biggest concern has to do with my son and him just being okay. His name is Zach.
His name is Adam?
Zach.
Zach.
Right.
Okay. All right. Veretta, what you got about Zach?
Okay, so when I look out past probably the next 2 or 3 years, I quickly get it'll even itself out. Problem is this next 2 or 3 years, down to the right now time frame of months, there's a lot that can go wrong. And depending upon what kind of free will, power struggle, that's really going to determine how wrong they can go. Now, unfortunately, kids these days figure if they push back and mom gets themselves in trouble, then they've got the upper hand. So a parent is riding on thin ice at any given moment from how to discipline, how to talk, how to consequence, how to bring to an attention that a person, regardless of how old they are, does not have the upper hand with disrespect. And so, yeah, I worry about him, but don't do it the same way you normally would. Come across in a totally different manner. So, right now, he can be okay. It's just going to take. Right now,
Oh, you stop talking. We've got such a delayed reaction here on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm
Go ahead
sorry.
and
Did you ask me a
your-
question? Because it break up really bad.
No. Thought we had our problems fixed. I was really hoping it. Right now, honey, don't put him through the same paces that you would have normally with your goals and your tactic of wanting him to understand consequence. Don't do that. Try to come from a different perspective with him. For a little bit, he's going to be the same, and he's not going to take blame. He's not going to take responsibility. He's not going to take anything other than what he wants. So if that's what he absolutely needs, and he cries the rest of the time just because he can, or he starts to become demonstratively aggressive or more assertive, that's also a possibility, unfortunately. It just really depends on which way you take him with the head stuff, with the cerebral thinking. Now, Ernesto may be able to give you a little bit more in detail as to what to look out for to help this not take such a toll on you mentally and everybody else that may be involved.
Okay, so Charlene, I'm taking a look here. If you could do me a favor, if you're watching our YouTube stream, if you could mute the YouTube audio, that way we can avoid that feedback loop, and then just talk to me here on your phone, and then you can sort of follow along with what's happening on screen. It'll just create it so we don't get that echo. Now, I do want to ask you though.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you: are you concerned about your son's living situation right now?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is it getting kind of bad to where like he may not have a roof over his head right now?
No, he's okay, but he's in a lot of trouble. So he's incarcerated at the moment. So, but there's legal charges obviously pending, which is why he's incarcerated. I do believe that he'll be able to get this turned around, and he won't be. I do believe it's going to be dropped. But between here to there is the I don't know if tricky is the right word for it, but the dilemma, I guess, is the word for it.
What is Zach's issue when it comes to things like addiction?
That's actually exactly why he's there. So well picked up.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
exactly
because
why he's there.
I get the sense that like he's not going to fall off the deep end. Like to be clear, the situation does not worse than what it is already. Like what you're experiencing right now, this is as bad as it gets. If he chooses to continue taking the low road, absolutely it will get worse for him in ways that he's not going to like. But I do feel like that this is a true turning point. And so the thing that he would benefit from the very, very most right now is like, you got to introduce the guy to God. Like you really do. Like that needs to happen. That needs to be like a major presence and force in everything that he does, you know. And I know that like 12-step programs sort of have, you know, like this Christian undertone to it that, you know, kind of makes a lot of people poo-poo the whole program and everything. So there is that. That is one aspect of it, but like he's really got to be introduced to like spirits, magical wonders and might and everything else, because I think once he realizes that there is a higher power, that he doesn't always have to take this low road. A lot of people are really surprised how much their lives change when they're just introduced to this idea, because they never even knew it was possible. They thought that, like, I am conditioned to be this way, that it has to be like this because that's what the doctor said or whatever. And it really doesn't have to be. This
Right.
is that time where he can change, his entire course of life. But, it is all going to come down to, like, about God's messages and if he's going to pay attention to them. So the best thing that I could advise
Well,
you to do, go ahead.
I was going to say he's actually pretty spiritual. But that being said, I don't know that he listens. This is shifting him. Like he's literally bursting through a fresh egg kind of thing, if you want to put it that way. Like he is. I feel like there is new things going on, and he does, because he has a brain injury. And I didn't say that, but he does have a brain injury. So because of that, sometimes, and then stress, so he'll loop back on things that aren't necessarily helpful. And the addiction, he's been sober for 2 months now, and he is working at the program while he's where he's at, and he is going into a treatment. So that part I feel confident with. It's just the steps between here to there, and then him coming out the other side. And be, I don't feel he'll turn things negative, from this. But that being said, it's been a pretty bumpy ride for the last few years, but the last couple of months have been horrendous.
Well, the biggest thing that he's going to benefit from is getting rid of the stupid people in his environment. Like, there are a whole bunch of people that are trying to convince him to do bad. And just by making them go away, that will immediately change the color and quality of his life. So, getting rid of the gangrenous wound and realizing that it is actually okay if I'm alone. It's better for me to make friends with myself and harvest that relationship than to keep all of these toxic, unhealthy people around me who keep telling me to do bad things. Like, he's got to come to that realization. And I think he will. This is going to be one of the things that's going to be that'll be a result of this whole metamorphosis that he's going through right now, is when he finally does push through that egg, all of those people from the past who were bad to him, they will be left in the past. Like, they're not even going to have a second chance. So, I mean, that's gonna be another major issue for him, is, dropping that cancer out of his life and making sure that goes away.
Right. And do you see him do it? Like, I know we've talked about it, and he's come to realization in his words, but because of the brain injury, sometimes it's not that, I don't know how to explain it other than there's a no-filter factor, there's an impulse factor, and there's a looping factor. I don't know if any of those make sense to you or not, but they're just...
So what you also want to remember, Mom, is there is a behavioral modification factor. And
There's
anything that's got a pulse, a behavioral modification factor.
Yes, okay, yes.
All right, and that's why I said you come from a different perspective than what normally the typical way for you to respond to is possible, whether we will go in a wrong direction or not. It's just a matter of looking at the things that you can create for him that help him understand that he is the end result of his destiny. But you got to take a look at the bigger picture all the way around. So when you said he's incarcerated, that's made absolute sense to me why it was going to be a little struggle. All right, so if he can get past this little struggle into that comfortable zone, possibly parole or even just outright his time, the fine line will come from what he learns while he's there now. So, as well as a creator, you want to introduce him to metaphysical. He can read. Yes. He's very apt at reading. He's got intuition. The problem is it's borderline just getting him to survive. It's not something he understands outside of that, to how to deal with that yet.
Okay.
But he's intuitive.
Yeah, and yes, Charlene, does Zach have a therapist right now?
Kind of. There is somebody who's willing to work with him, and because he's trapped at the moment in being incarcerated, it's really hard for him to get the help he needs,
Right.
Because
Well, when he gets out,
you're at a limited situation there because they're in jail, right? So you don't have a lot of privileges there. So,
when he
yeah,
gets
being able
out,
to
having a
access-
counselor is going to be the most important asset to him of all, because that's a sounding board that is impartial to everybody else in his life. And and people who are going through change and transition, we need that more than anything else, because we have to work out the bugs and the kinks in the system. And speaking as somebody who has had a traumatic brain injury multiple times, and there are many wires in my brain that don't connect or work the way that they're supposed to, like they do for most people, the best thing that I figured out over the years is you really need to know self-awareness. Like, this is a pillar that anybody who has a traumatic brain injury just needs to live by, because once we acknowledge or become cognizant of the behavior pattern or the phrases or the things that we do that trigger certain conditions and scenarios, then we know exactly how to cut that off, stop that line of thinking, and do a different thing, like what Veretta was saying, behavior modification. That's exactly how we would manifest that, is as opposed to doing all of this old programming, which is what's familiar and what may be broken. Let's do this behavior modification by stopping that conversation and taking a completely different course. So something that a counselor can do in that regard is that they can do like some type of journaling exercises to sort of become more aware of that whole process. A lot of people very much struggle with journaling, like people who have borderline personality disorder, let's say. Those are not great candidates because they take journaling to a totally different level, which is about, come take a look at the soap opera that's my life, and I am so addicted to the terribleness of everything. That does not help them. But to people who have deficiencies, writing those things out allows us to where we can actually start talking to them, or so that they can actually become cognizant of those changes and then to behavior modify from there. So I feel like that a therapist would very much help them out in that regard, and it would be great for them to have some skill sets to work with, so that he can start to develop that and know what to look for. Because anybody who has an issue with using in the past, once we know that this is the thing that we're falling into, this feels familiar again, then we can cut it off and do that other thing, which is much better for us. So a therapist would be the best person to sort of teach those skills, because it's not, self-awareness is something that can be taught, but it's something that a lot of people don't get very easily because it doesn't come naturally to a lot of us, since we're so wrapped up in everything else that happens with life. But people who are disadvantaged, they're a little bit more inclined to be self-observant, just because we have to sit by the sidelines and watch everything happen.
Right. Fascinating. Amazing. I wish that I could hear you guys better than you are, but I'll get to listen on the playback, and I could tell on the phone it was playing properly. It's just my phone.
Yeah, and please,
okay.
and let him know that you had this conversation with us, so that he could listen to this, and it'll give him some ideas about some things that you could do. Because I don't have his chart, so I'd have to take a look at that. But if he's as spiritual as what you say, then there is a reasonable expectation that he is the type of person who is very much interested in changing yourself for the better and taking the high road, however that may happen. So once we're presented with that information and how to do it, then we just have to make it happen.
Okay, that's I will let him listen to it, and I will speak more to him in terms of just having actual conversations with God, because I work as an intuitive, and I am, and normally, but of course I'm pretty wrapped up in concern on him right now, so it's really hard to shut down the monkey mind in my head going on. He's one of my Achilles heels. Okay. All right. I really, really, really appreciate your information. So you see him, though, ultimately, this will calm. Like you said, it's not going to be worse.
The only way it gets worse is if he keeps those other jerks in his environment. If he says goodbye to them and closes the door for good, then you're all good to go. But, even just one of them sticking around, like if he thinks, well, maybe, ... no, don't even entertain the thought. Those people are awful. Make them go away and do everything you can to make them go away.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. I let them know what I described to them in their conversations in asking them to stop speaking with him is literally it's like every time you talk to him, it's like putting a nail in his coffin. So just stop speaking to him.
Yeah.
But
that's
about
the
him. And he says he's changing his number and everything. Sorry?
No, I was just going to tell you that that's sort of what your chart is saying about his stuff right now. It does get better, but it all comes down to him, and it's those other people that he has to get rid of for it to get better.
Right. Okay. Well, great information. I truly appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to listening back in the playback. So, sorry, I'm not sure why the internet's working or the phone is working the way it is, but...
Well, hey, we got all the information out there, so it's there for you to pick up later. I'm so happy that this is all being recorded for that reason.
Me as well. I'm so grateful for you for your time and your service here. I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate the kind words.
Is there any information that you should be passing that's coming through for you to give to me, or do I leave it be?
That's everything for right now. I do want to wish you the very best of luck, and please give us a call back to let us know how it turns out.
I will. Thank you so much,
sure.
and genuinely appreciate it. Be well.
You too. Take care and many blessings. Until next time.
Okay. Goodbye.
Okay, and we are going to get off to our next caller here from area code 570. Hi, you're on Celestial Intersections Radio. May I have your name and date of birth, please?
Yes, it's Kayla, and my date of birth is October 1st, 1988.
Kayla. Oh, you've called us before, Kayla, right?
Yes, I have. It's been a while.
It has been, yes. I got you here. Now, do you have a question for us today, or would you just like a general reading?
Just in general.
Okay, all right. About health, love, or career? Pick one.
Let's go with health.
All right, Veretta, what you got for health? Veretta, are you there?
Well, yes, I was. Sorry about that. I muted myself.
Oh, Kayla, if you could mute your
Okay,
YouTube's
so-
audio, that way we can avoid that feedback loop and then just talk through your phone. That'll be the best way to get that sound through.
Yep, everything's muted.
Perfect. All right, Veretta, now what you got for Kayla here for a health reading?
Okay, for health reading, what I'm picking up a lot of is one of those things where something you're doing is really not settling well with your organs. Your nerves aren't playing a good part into your health either, because it looks to me like your anxiety gets the better of you. Mentally, your I would say psychologically, let's put it that way. You're strained a little bit, either nerves due to whatever's ongoing or things in the past. But the feeling is that you've got opportunity here for something to come and make a lot of that go away, even if it's just for a little while. But you're going to have to get right with the things in your past, or that's stuff's going to haunt you when you're trying to move forward with what you think is a good thing.
Okay.
So basically, health-wise, you're going to be all right. But if you continue to do whatever it is you're doing that's pissing it off, then no, it's not going to go away.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ernesto?
Yes, just taking a look here. Now, there's that. Okay. So, Kayla, I'm just curious. Would you say that, are you working right now?
No.
You're not working. Okay. Would you say that the lack of work is contributing to health issues?
I don't think so. Like, I do a lot at home, so I don't think so, but maybe.
Okay, because I get
Like
the
I'm
sense.
always on the go. Always.
Yeah, let me look. Let me add this here. So this is going to be that. Okay. So I really get the sense that like you've got some things that are going on with your health, and the health, to be clear, the health stuff is going to be okay, like that will absolutely fix itself. I think that this is a lot of like ongoing or long-standing stuff that you've made, maybe some self-care issues that you've neglected, perhaps, like getting a teeth cleaning, or just basic issues, self-care like that. But whatever the health issues are, they're very simple, they're very routine, there's nothing like freaky or awful about them. And whatever they are, they will also be fixed. So these are issues that are treatable, number one, and you will have the access to the means to be able to take care of them. So like I don't foresee the health issues particularly causing a lot of damage, if that's the thing that you're concerned about. What I do see it causing a problem with, though, is perhaps expense. Is that, like some of the things that you may need may seem very routine and normal, but the price tag that's associated with that kind of makes your eyes water in not a great way. So that's the opposite side of the coin for those other health issues. But either way, I do feel like that, you will come up with the resources to take care of those things one way or another. Like you will just have the access to get those things fixed here for you. I really feel like that, from a more general reading perspective, that, you're just sort of like, you're kind of waiting for something exciting to happen. I want to say exciting, perhaps even creative, like you want to see the fruits of your labor pay off. And that's really sort of what you're looking for right here. The time is not yet for that. You're getting much closer. And I think you're getting a lot closer to the ideas that you need to make that type of thing come true. But it's, the grind is still there and you're still working towards it. But it's not as far off and as insane as what you thought it was a couple of months ago.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Kayla, it was great to have you on the show. I'm so glad you came back. It's been a while. So don't forget about us, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Take care until next time. Many blessings. Okay, all right, and that clears out the call queue for today. We do want to thank all of our guests for a terrific show with us. We will be back with you guys again on Sunday. That will be the 23rd for an hour program at 10 a.m. Arizona time for 1 hour, 10 to 11. And I also wanted to wish everybody a very, very happy 420, which is tomorrow. Fun fact, the history of 420, the folklore behind it. Many years ago, there were some frat boys who got together after class, and they got stoned in the basement of their college. And that they met up at 420 every day. So that's where that came from. Now, whether or not you partake in the activity, that's a completely different story. But I do wish at the very minimum that at 420 brings you a moment of peace, a moment of relaxation, taking a deep breath, enjoy the sights, even though they may be the same four walls. Just take a moment to appreciate life. That's really sort of what it's all about. That's why we're here. For all other things Uranian Astrology, please check out eastrologer.tv, and you can find Veretta at verettavision.com. Thanks so much again to everybody, to all of our guests, and to Veretta, as always, for joining me on the show today. We will see you guys again on Sunday.
Happy day, and a great night.
Thanks, everybody. Until next time, good luck and Godspeed.